Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here, and I have got a good tipple for once. Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So yes, over the last few weeks I've either had no drink or a poor drink, and I thought it's time to step up, and I've got this beauty, which is Glenfarclas. And today I went into town and there's a store by the name of the Whiskey Store, and it sells whiskey, strangely enough. And I went into there and I says, these are the whiskies that I like, I don't know what I'm after, but sell it to me. And he told me to try this tipple, which I did in the shop. He gave me a tiny little shot and it was really, really nice. I've not opened this yet, so let's see what it tastes like. Probably tastes like what it did this morning, but to be fair, I've kind of forgot, so. Oh, it smells glorious, absolutely glorious. And I know a lot of people either complain, one, if I drink from a bottle, or two, if I dilute it with Coke. So for you, a glass and nothing but ice. Every time I hear that sound, I always just think of Julian from Trailer Park Boys. That's a damn fine whiskey. That's the best way to put it. Go buy it. There you go. That's it. Sold to you. Just buy it. That's going to warm me cockles up. So, what to talk about? Well, first of all, I just want to say that I have absolutely gone mad on the game by the name of Tropico. Now, Tropico is a game I've never been interested in whatsoever, and I purchased, and I've gone madly in love with it. I've got lots of things to say about the game, which I should do on a separate video. And it kind of made me go, building my own Caribbean city and all that lot. I really, really like it. Should I buy SimCity or not? And I've been contemplating, because it looks good, and I've not played a SimCity game in years, and when I did, I can't even remember what version I played, and I was like, you know what, I probably will. But luckily enough, I decided that the amount of times that I buy these games on release and they turn out to be crap, so I've noticed I've been not buying as many games on release lately, and it feels like I've dodged a bullet. So before I go on, we know who makes SimCity, and that is EA. So let's just kick off the EA rant straight away. My chair got stuck. So those lovely bastards called EA are at it again. Now, first of all, SimCity's just been released a few days ago, or I think it was yesterday in the States. Here in the UK, we've got to wait a little longer. I was going to buy it, but I'm glad I haven't, because EA decides to do this wonderful thing where they say, you must have your internet connection on at all times so we can track you with our beady eyes. And when people say you've got to keep it on all the time, I'm never really that bothered, because my internet connection's on all the time anyway, so it never really annoys me. But the thing is, it works both ways. If you want us to keep our internet connection on, EA, you probably need to do the same. Now what's happening is people are going to create their wonderful cities and towns, and they're coming up with this error message. And on top of it, people are able to now connect into the worlds or create worlds, but the servers aren't properly working, so EA's turned around and says we're going to disable features and functions and try and get the servers all working, and it all just comes down to one beautiful thing. You f***ing rushed your games again, didn't you? The thing is, you're supposed to test and test and test and test and try and break it as many times as you can until you've got a perfect product, then you ship it. But no, because we know EA love to just bash stuff out, this game is not fully working with its online features, and people are unable to connect or sometimes even create their own worlds. It's a cracking start. And the thing that pisses me off more than anything is console games cost a lot, because one, of the time there's kickbacks going to the manufacturer like Microsoft or Sony, and on top of it you got to have it on discs and all that other stuff, but PC gaming is cheap. Now we all know this because one, because piracy is massively big on the actual PC, so to try and encourage people not to pirate, they've kind of brought the prices down, and on top of it, it's just the standard, that's how it all works. But like EA, like that, we'll just charge normal standard Xbox/PlayStation prices. So they're banging the actual, well, it's called the limited edition, which practically is the standard edition. I think there is a standard edition, but the one they're shipping is the limited. But don't worry, the limited isn't the big one. They've also got a digital deluxe. There's billions of different versions of this fucking game. But the point is, the limited edition one, which everyone's practically shipping, is going to cost you $44.99. Now, that is quite an expensive PC game. And on top of it, this is, if I managed to make a wonderful piece of art, I spent there hours and I created it and I did it and I went, you know what, this is really good, I could probably sell it. Then I stuck it in my scanner and then made a digital version of it, and then I went on to sell that. If people says, would you please sell me an original copy, then I'd have to make it or print it and then ship it, put it in a package, send it to them. It would take a long time to do all this. Or if they really wanted, I could just give them the JPEG. There you go, there's a scanned copy of it. It's a digital version that I can replicate 1 billion times. Now, if I had to do that, I'll charge probably quite a lot for the shipping and making and putting in packages. But if they just wanted a copy of my JPEG or scanning, I wouldn't charge that much because it's just replicating itself continuously. I'll be like, yeah, you can just have that on cheaper. But no, EA don't give two shits. When you go in and you got digital or physical, click on both. Same price, no matter what. Which is just stupid. If you want, you can buy it for $44.99 through Origin, or you can go elsewhere where everybody is actually selling it cheaper, which just makes no sense whatsoever to me. But if you want, you can get the digital deluxe version for $64.99, which is a ludicrous amount of money for a PC game. But luckily enough, it just doesn't stop there because EA keep getting better and better. Now, this is kind of not like bashing EA. This is kind of good. I hope this happens. And what it is apparently, well, Dead Space 1 came out, 2 came out, 3 came out. We can probably guess 4's coming out, but the rumour is 4 has now been canned. And the simple reason for it is it's apparently number 3 has had poor sales or not as good as sales as they actually wanted. Now, EA's actually responded to this, and what they've actually said is, well, we have not announced the sales for Dead Space 3. We are proud of our game. So it kind of like, you know what I mean? If I made a game and it had awesome sales and somebody said some shit about my game, I'd be like, pff, and just drop it on them and say, look, we made this much money. But no, they didn't. So it kind of confirms that there may be poor sales. But the thing is, I don't think it's Dead Space's fault for probably having poor sales. I think us as gamers have started to become scared of buying brand new releases. Now, I think the only game I brought on release this year has been Aliens, and sadly it was shit. And I've learnt my lesson 1,000,000 times, and every so often I tend to do it again. But it doesn't matter, I'm constantly learning, and I am actually buying less and less and less release titles. And I've noticed, like, compared to what I did last year, I brought a load of release titles. Now, what I brought this year, like, 1, and that's about it. Tomb Raider's come out, I really want it. It's actually had good reviews. I'm still not going to buy it. I'm just going to wait, because 1, it might price drop, or 2, like, there might be a glitch that someone finds towards the end. Do you know what I mean? I'll let the world be my guinea pig now, and then I'll find out the feedback and then go and buy a game. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think that a lot of people now are scared to drop that massive £40 or £45 on a brand new game in case it's a crock of shit. And the people that have been doing it is all these developers that just rush out these games. It's not necessarily the developers' fault neither. It's the actual publishers that are going, obviously, come on lads, we need to get this out. And people are even saying, the developers, the games aren't ready, and they just shove it out anyway. So I think they've actually damaged their own market now to the point where a lot of people are too scared to buy on release. When it comes to big titles like Skyrim, obviously people go out and buy it in bucket load. But the point is, when it's one of them titles where you're like, I don't know, a lot of people used to go, I'll just try it. But now a lot of people are like, I've done it too many times now, it's a risky business, I ain't doing it. And keeping it on the EA, in fact, sod that, f*** EA for a minute, let's have a bit of whisker. Right, so the other thing I want to talk about is EA are these people that love to say online passes, you've got to buy an online pass or buy it brand new if you want to connect to one of our servers, which annoy the hell out of me. But if we've now got this thing in place where I pay you, EA, for connecting to one of the servers, keep that server on. Now, they've turned around and shut a load of servers down back in January, but looking at it, it consists of FIFA Soccer 11, Madden NFL 11, NBA Jam, NCAA Football 11, NHL 11. So it's all the 11 games are kind of getting turned off, and they're only 2 years old. Now, I tend to sometimes, when it's a game which has been released, I'm not too fussed at, but I would like to play. I buy it a year, sometimes 2 years down the line. Now, if I'm getting round to these games now and they're turning the servers off, it makes no sense. Now, I know these don't have online passes, but the point is, now this online pass is in place, how do we stand with servers? Are they going to keep them on? Because I tell you now, if I buy an online pass for something and then in 2 years they turn it off, I'll be I hope a load of lawsuit cases start to come out when they turn off these servers that we've actually paid for. So, that's just it. EA's at it again. So, let me just have a little top up and we'll go on to a few rumours. That's too good. That bottle's going to disappear by the end of the night. So first of all, Piston. We kind of forgot all about that Steam's box Valve thing, because obviously it's been overshadowed by PlayStation 3 and a lot of Xbox rumours, but the Piston is still in the works, and Gabe's turned around now and says they're still working on the biometric feedback controller, and it kind of, something just went in my head and went, you know what, I'm really more excited at this than I've ever been. Now, the idea of obviously the controller I spoke about in the past, that you hold it in your hands and it checks your heart rate and everything, so it can tell if you're scared and all the different things, which is cool. If a game could adapt to how I feel, that's absolutely amazing. But the other thing is, every so often services sometimes say, can we have feedback from you? Can we just monitor what you're doing and send it back? And I'm always like, no, you can't monitor what I'm doing. But this is me just saying things off the top of my head, so this isn't in place, but I hope it is, where if they can actually record our feelings at the time and our heart rate when they're playing a game at the particular moments, and actually I hope Valve record it. Obviously we'll have to say yes or no, but I hope they set up a service where they can record that feedback and store it, so they can actually look and analyse and go, look, this is the parts of the game that they enjoyed or they were scared at, and from that they can actually see, because at the moment the only way to tell if a game works or if a game makes you jump is to just watch somebody and hopefully go whoo like that, and that's the only way we've kind of got a way of doing it at the moment. But to actually have proper electronical impulses in reading and all that stuff, to be able to actually monitor it and actually see where these spikes happen in the game, I think will be a really great tool for actually creating new games, so they can actually see what parts did the trick and actually redo them in games. The entire idea of this biometric feedback I think is absolutely awesome, and I hope they go on to actually take this information and store it. But on top of that, they're actually saying the Piston's on its way. They've kind of got it all dialed down now. The only two issues they have at the moment is the heat that is banging out and the actual noise, which to say they're working on, it's not a problem, they can actually get this dialed in, and then they're going to be prepared to actually start getting these units out in the wild in the next 3 months. So they're just going to be giving it particular people to test and to get their feedback, but it's coming close. So now I've got the Piston rumours out of the way, let's have a bit more Microsoft rumours. Now this is, time and time again, I keep saying this, that obviously the idea that we were going to stop second-hand gaming was on the cards at one point. Now PlayStation haven't done it. I'm going to say Microsoft definitely won't do it, because it's suicide if they do. And to be fair, every time I've read these rumours, I've always just gone, but it won't happen. And I still think it won't happen, but I'm a tad bit scared, because these rumours are coming out 10 to a dozen. Now the latest thing that's been said is, while games will still be sold on physical Blu-ray discs, according to the report, they will require an activation codes and will no longer have no value beyond the initial user. Now again, this is rumours and there's no confirmation from Microsoft, but I'm slightly scared that they might do it. Now I hope they don't. I think it's stupid. If one person doesn't do it, then you can't do it, because everyone's going to jump ships. And by God, if Microsoft, which I love the Xbox and I hope I will love the next console, but they second, even if the console could read my mind and I could control it just by thinking, but if they says, but you can't have second-hand games, I'm going straight to Sony. So I'm a bit scared at the moment. But the weird thing is, because of these rumours, it's actually started to change sales. Now the way it is normally when you come into the end of a console's life, that's tend to when you start selling your games, unless you're a collector and you're going to keep it. I'm going to keep pretty much 99% of my stuff. But prior to when I was a collector, if I knew a new console was coming out, that tends to be when I start selling off my games, getting ready to sell that console so I can buy the new latest and greatest stuff. But GameStop have actually come out and said the actual sales in second-hand games have actually plummeted over the last few months. So it sounds like a few people have actually read these rumours that you won't be able to play second-hand games. So a lot of people might be like, well, I need to keep on to these then, because I won't be able to buy them back second-hand or anything like that. So I think a lot of people are scared about their collection and actually keeping them now because of these rumours. So, with that aside, one thing I do want to talk about, every so often I talk about a nice little story from Kickstarter saying this has gone out and it's done really, really well, but something's actually happened. It's completely shocked me. Now, there's some chaps out there that actually did some funding on Kickstarter for Wastelands 2. They actually got the money that needed for it and have been working for a long time on it. The game's still not ready, but the point is, the people that normally start at the very, very early stages of a project, such as the actual writers and the artists, they've done their job on Wastelands 2, and now it's over to the actual coders and developers and everything like that. So they're sat there twiddling their thumbs. So they decided, you know what, we need to make another game, so let's start another Kickstarter, and then we can get the writers and the artists to start working on it now. So we don't have to fire them, and at the same time it all works well in the office. So they decided to revamp a game called Torment. Now they created this game a long time ago called Torment. I've not actually played it, so I can't turn around and go, and it was a cracking game. The point is, they want to make the actual next version of it, so they went onto Kickstarter and says we want $900,000, which is quite a lot amount when it comes down to gaming, because I've seen a lot of people saying from like 250, some people close to $1 million. So this is one of the higher budgets that they requested, and within one day they didn't only nail it, they got twice as much. So they got £1.8 million in one day, which is just amazing, because this, to me, is great that it's happening time and time again, because I just love Kickstarter for what it's doing. And the best thing about it is when developers get this money, they have got obviously no publisher on their back going, get it done. And the one thing I love about it more than anything, a game is ready when it's ready. And that's the thing which I think's damaged games the most over the last century, really. Just publishers breathing down necks and getting it out, because all we've seen over the last 2-3 years now is glitchy games, patches, updates, fixes, constantly. And when it comes down to Kickstarter projects, they tend to go through flawlessly because they have the time and the money and no one breathing down the neck, and they can go, we bumped into a little problem, we're going to just knock it back another month. And the same happens for Broken Sword, because I funded Broken Sword. I put £100 into that, or $100 even, into that, and they've said, oh, we've delayed it a few more months. I'm absolutely fine with that, because I prefer a polished product which is late than a piece of shit early. So yeah, what I'm trying to say then is Kickstarter is the way to go in gaming now, and I hope more and more developers just turn to crowdfunding than they do to publishers. So I'm going to bring it down to the question of the week, which is, are you now scared to drop money on brand new games? And like I've said, I don't do it very often now because there's so many stinkers, and I just wait for the reviews, I wait for people to actually test it, I wait for my friends to tell me what it's like before I purchase it. The only time I tend to actually buy something on release is if all my friends are buying it and it's an online version of a game. So if it's like an FPS or something like that, that they're going to sit there playing online, and if I'm on Xbox Live and I get to hear them all having fun, I get kind of jealous, so I have to buy a game on release if everyone else has. But aside from that, if it's just a story-based game or something like that, I tend to not touch it at all now, because I'm just so scared. 1, it's glitchy. 2, it's just been rushed and the story's crap. Or 3, it's just shit. So yeah, the question of the week is simply, are you now scared to buy games on release? So that's it, guys. I'm going to suck this whiskey and suck the bottle dry, I think, because this stuff is too good. And then tomorrow just nurse a hangover playing nothing but Tropico 4. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. Bye.